Okay, what I'm going to be showing you right now is how to get a movie clip from an iPad and move it into iMovie, and then how to trim that clip and save it and make it ready for putting it out onto YouTube. So to start, I'm going to open iMovie here. If you don't already have that on your bar, or if you need help finding it, you can go ahead and click the Launchpad, and then you'll generally see it on one of these screens here. Once you have that opened, make sure that the iPad that has the movie files on it is already connected to the Mac, and then you can hit this File button and choose Import from Camera. What that's going to do is find any devices that are on this computer, and as you may have noticed, it actually pulled the camera that's on the front of the computer. It queried that one first, and then it looked at the iPad. So I see these two videos that I have on this iPad right now. By default, it's going to import both of the clips, but if you take this little checkbox here and say Manual, you can choose which of the clips you want to import. Because this one is really long, I'm just going to import the shorter one now. And in fact, I've already done this once to play around with it, and I can tell you that even the shorter one's going to take about 4 minutes for a 5-minute clip. You have a few options on this screen when you first choose to import. I really kind of liked looking through some of these. I see that there's stabilization, people, and stabilization and people. And what's going to happen is the clip that you submit, it's going to look for certain features and characteristics in that, and then analyze and optimize that video on its own. Since a lot of you might be filming students, you might want to go ahead and check that box and choose people or stabilization and people. For me, it doesn't really matter because this is just a test clip, so I'll leave that unchecked right now. For optimized video, you also have an option here for full or original size. My suggestion is to choose the large size, the 960 by 540, or whatever you have, whatever is just not full, because that full original size, the warning that Mac gives is that it can go up to just some astronomical figure like 40 gigabytes per hour of video, which would be entirely unworkable with the constraints that we have right here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit import now, and you're going to see that this begins importing. So as this bar fills up, it is doing importing. And if you look down here, it will tell you about how long it has left. I'm going to pause this video right now, and I'll pick up once this is finished. Alright, so I'm picking up the video again, and as you can see, the import finished, and it tells you how much it imported, which was the full video length, 4 minutes and 55 seconds, and that took about 4 minutes. So I'll hit OK, and now that I'm finished with this importing piece, I'll just go ahead and click Done. And then we can see everything showing up right here. Now, one thing that's important to remember is that to actually work with a video clip, it needs to be pulled up into So what I did there is I double-clicked in the thing to select everything, so now I have this hand icon, and now you need to pull it up into this project space. You may get this error, or this warning I should say, about mismatched frames rates. You can go ahead and just click Change. It didn't have any appreciable difference from what I saw. Now here's sort of where it gets a little bit funny. Where you actually edit the video is in this space up here, and as you can see, this is really kind of small and maybe not the best thing to work with. So a real handy trick is to click this right here, this Swap Events and Projects. So, because this stuff, this event information, we don't really need to work with right now. What we really need is a nice, good working space down here. So this is a 5-minute video clip, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it down to 2 minutes. I'm going to pick about the 1-minute mark. And as you can see on the bottom there are some sort of time indications about how far along it is. But I know the minute mark's right, there's 59 seconds, so I'll come to right about here. and that's going to be close enough. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a two-fingered click on the mouse or on the trackpad to bring this up. The other way you can get that up is if you hold down the control button on the keyboard and click, it'll basically do a right click and bring this up. And what I'm going to do is choose to split clip. So now I have this in two pieces. And keep in mind, there are a lot of ways to trim a video. I just tend to like splitting and deleting. It requires a few extra steps, but it's a lot more difficult to mess up. And that really matters a lot to me. So what I can do is, we have our 1 minute start mark right here. I'm going to go ahead and click on this preceding bit of video, and I'm just going to hit the delete button on the keyboard, and that will go ahead and get rid of it. So now we're down to just this about a 4-minute clip now, because we took that 5-minute clip and we kind of took off that leading 1 minute. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and find the 2-minute mark, and we'll do the same thing. So I see 1:59 here, so I know it's somewhere right about here. Again, I'm going to either two-finger click or hold Control and click, and then choose to split clip. And you see once again I have these two pieces. I'll now click the trailing piece and hit the delete button, and now I'm left with just this nice 2-minute clip. If you do make a mistake, under this edit option at the top here, you can choose to undo delete selection. You can also do the Command and Z, or if you're more familiar with the older terminology, Open Apple and Z. And that will undo the last few things that you've done. So in fact, I even took it out of the project space. So I can also redo all of this. So if you do make a mistake, just remember it's not the end of the world, and you can always go back the last few steps or redo them as well. So now we're back to this 2-minute clip. So now that we're finished cropping our movie, what we're going to want to do is export this to a format so that we can upload it to YouTube. The easiest way to do that is to, at the top here, click Share, and then choose Export Movie. You'll have a few options here. You'll be able to give it a name, choose the location it saves to, and then you'll also have some options for how you want to format it. For anything that's going to be going onto YouTube, in order to be a little bit more space conscious, you probably want to choose mobile or medium. I'm going to choose medium this time and click Export. If you choose those other more high definition options, you're going to notice this is going to take a lot more time right here. Initially, when I was playing around, I did it under the full setting, and for this same clip it was going to take about 14 minutes. And we see that it's actually going to take less than a minute now at this smaller setting. I'm going to go ahead and pause this video right now, and when I pick up I'll show you where that movie file is. Okay, so that's finished exporting, and remember we put that in the movies folder. So to find that quickly, I'm just going to come up to the magnifying glass up here, or the spotlight. I can go ahead and type movies here, and then I'll see the movies folder. When I click on that, I see the movie file that we just made. And if I were to let this run, you'd see the 2 minutes we just did. So this file you would then be able to take to YouTube and upload directly.